Welcome to the Employee Happiness Podcast. And today, as a guest, I have Hisham Elsaied. He has been with us as a jury member for the past 2 years, and I'm really looking forward to hear some insights and maybe secrets about Employee Happiness Awards. So, not only that, he is also a manager and partner of a hybrid organization that helps managers to become leaders. And additionally, he is also a CIPD member, a coach in ICF, and he holds a master's degree in human resources. So welcome, Hisham. I'm really looking forward to our today's discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Great. So, since our podcast is employee happiness, a lot of our talks are going to be around that topic. And let's start with, what is employee happiness to you, and how did it evolve over the last few years?
That's a very good question. So, employee happiness in the past years, when I started my career around 19, 20 years ago, it was more about the perks and benefits that are provided to employees, from lunch coupons, gym membership, and other stuff. Now, what have been changing over the past years, that it's more now holistic. It's part of the organizational culture. There is more trending going to psychological safety. After COVID, we saw all the shift to remote work, people choosing where they can work from, even from outside the country. Sometimes they can even choose their working hours. So it's no longer a 9 to 5 everywhere. There are more industries that standing into flexible hours and managing your own schedule. So the shift has been from tangible benefits, that you give an employee a voucher or you give him something tangible, to more the intangible side of benefits, where it really mental well-being and how the employees feel in general. Especially with the shift in generations, people are tending more to think of the purpose of what I'm doing. It's not only the benefits I have in the contract. And here the CIPD comes with the psychological contract. It's not a signed contract, but you know that working for this place will provide me 1, 2, 3 that I cannot find in the other place. So this is the shift from tangible to intangible kind of benefits.
I agree with you. So while I was preparing for this podcast, I actually asked myself, what was my happiness 10 years ago? And I actually couldn't arrive to so many things. For me, it was a good salary, a good manager, and financial training support. And that was it. If you ask me the same question now, it's going to be this, and that. So it completely transformed from what it was even like less than 10 years ago.
Correct.
So, yeah, I can definitely agree to what you're saying. Talking about Employee Happiness Awards. So you've been a jury member with us for the last few years, and this year you've been on several categories. Do you feel like that there is a specific trend across the companies when it comes to a strong case and a winning case?
Yes, and what have been evolving also in this field is that now the HR people are evolving beyond the HR impact. So it's not only what kind of HR initiatives we are making, because at the end, the HR is an enabling function. It's a support function. It should push the business forward in the business direction. So the trend emerging is the HR leaders are keen more on having the actual results of what are their initiatives on the business. So before, the metrics was less turnover, more engagement. Those are important, definitely. But those are HR metrics, how you can link this to the business, how this will be more profitability, or less cutting costs, or less training costs. Because when you have less turnover, you have less people coming in, so less onboarding costs and less training costs. At the end, it impacts the P&L. It saves costs for the company. So this have been emerging. I have been seeing this year in particular. Many companies are very clear on our HR initiatives are not just for HR. At the end, it's serving the business. It's taking the business forward, whatever business direction. It can be expansion, it can be growth, opening new markets, innovation, investing in R&D. So the HR strategy should always be aligned to what the business wants to go. We don't work in silos. We don't have our HR strategy that goes only for HR. It needs to be driven and connected by what the business needs to go and where the business needs to go.
Okay. Yeah. So what does it take to win an award? One tip or one specific trend?
The flow of the criteria from the rationale to the implementation to the impact. What we have seen in the past years, that the focus goes 70-80% on the implementation, companies go very quickly on the rationale and very quickly on the impact. But what have been improving is that we see the flow. So they start with the why, as the Simon Singh is saying, start with why. So why you are doing all this. When you talk about the best L&D strategy, for example, or best internship program, why you want to have an internship program? What is your strategy of having an L&D strategy? So you start with the why, and then the how. How did you do this? How did you implement this strategy? And finally, the what. What was the outcome? What was the impact of what we had done? So the strongest part of the companies that we have seen is follow this natural flow. Why, how, and then what?
Okay, I'm really looking forward to see who are going to be the winners, and we're going to just find out in a few weeks. And look, I understand what it means for the company, but what does it mean for the jury to be actually part of the whole experience? What do you gain from that?
We gain a lot. We gain a lot, to be honest with you, because it is a very rewarding experience to serve as a jury. First of all, you get updated with what the market is doing beyond your organizations, beyond your clients, beyond your circle that you work with on a daily basis or your operations. You see other industries. You see people from different industries, big companies, small companies, mid-size, fast growth. So you see where the market is heading. You can identify market trends. You also get the pleasure of seeing the effort behind the scenes. These people, especially in HR, I worked 20 years in HR, and I know that it's a behind-the-scenes job. You work a lot, and people perceive you as doing nothing and wasting the company's money.
Issue warning letters.
yes, the policeman of the company. This is what we have been perceived for years. So it's also rewarding to see the efforts these people are doing in the HR to build the organizational culture, to shift the culture to what serves the business. So it's rewarding to see your fellows in the HR people presenting their efforts, showing their business case, and it's rewarding in many sides.
So I was a moderator for this awards, and I left so inspired because some of the categories were just mind-blowing, the activities that we've seen, and you feel like, oh my God, I didn't even think that they exist. And I think I'm more talking about of community impact and also of people determination, because those kind of like really touched my heart. And then I went to my boss and I was like, shall we start doing something? So even till that level that I was like, wow. And I think even jury members who are in those categories were really grateful to be part of that. So the best part, at least for me, gala dinner.
Yes.
Are you joining us?
Yes.
Okay. So why do you think it's important for the companies to come and celebrate that?
Well, gala dinner, it's beyond celebration. It's not only celebration. So definitely celebration is there, but it's also a very good opportunity for them to network with other companies, to see people from other industries or from the same industry, to get really, their inner work that they have been working all over a year or something on their programs, initiatives, and all this. This needs to go to the external world. It shouldn't stay within your company. And it's a great opportunity, and it's psychologically rewarding. It's mentally rewarding to feel seen and heard. We are all like that. So it's a very good opportunity to take your team, go there, and show what you have done to the world. Don't make it only inside your company. Let the whole market knows about your brand, your company, your initiatives. Why even if you're not the winner, if you're just a finalist, that's a lot of pride. There is a lot of interest. So making it to the finalist shortlist is a winning in itself.
It is. And my favorite part is to see those smiles that happiness on their face, because it's pure. And when we take interviews or when we just see them on stage, you can feel it. And
yes,
I miss it sometimes because I'm on another side nowadays. But I do enjoy it.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Thank you for your service, and hope to see you next year as well.
It will be my pleasure to serve in the next year.
Perfect. So coming now to our main topic of this podcast, AI in HR industry. This buzzword, AI.
Yes.
So what's your view on that? Like, as just overall question, how is it impacting it? How is it evolving in the HR industry?
So first of all, we hear always that AI is the future. AI is the future. I mean, AI is here already. It's not the future. It's embedded in everything we do. from dating applications to food choices. Most of these applications use AI in the background. So sometimes it's even behind the scenes. We might not interact with it directly, but it is there. When it comes to the workplace or the HR itself, there are many applications around. It started from recruitment to screening CVs. A lot of video interviews are now happening with AI where they do the sentiment analysis. How do you look confident or not? Do you stop a lot when
Really?
yes. And many
Okay.
companies are adopting this AI interviews. So I said this before. It is maybe the AI will not take your job, but it will definitely decide if you're gonna get a job or not.
That's scary.
And it is that I'm not talking in 5 years in advance. It's
Okay.
now deciding, AI is now deciding whether you are going to have even an interview for the next round or not. So it is there. And that's on the talent acquisition, on the performance management, data analytics, sentiment analysis, and it's evolving very fast. So we saw Microsoft is now announcing an application that will go to your Outlook, Teams, and it will collect all the data from the emails you send, from how do you respond to teams, how fast you respond to some people versus other people, what's your tone while you are writing this email, and all this will be analyzed, and it will give a predictive analytics. So it will give red flags like, okay, there is a risk of burnout. This guy is so stressed when he's typed, or there is a risk of even leaving the company. His tone and all his interaction, which is millions of data points, is analyzed and see he's not as happy as he was 3 months before. So this is an unspoken, unseen, it's behind the scenes, but it is dominating the decision making kind of.
But that's scary actually. If you think, then you have no privacy at all what you're doing at work, because you still want to feel secure, but then it means that every single word that you put even on Teams with your colleagues is going to be out there. And yesterday when I was doing the research for this podcast, there are some AI application that can actually check how much you type. I feel like it's just going beyond what we as employees want to have. Don't you think?
Well, I think on the privacy issue, without going off topic, I mean, when you talk with someone on WhatsApp or even not on WhatsApp in real life about a certain product you want to buy or something, and you found ads coming on your social media on that, and it happens to everyone. So privacy question, I think we have been vulnerable since many years. we don't know which access we are giving, but taking this to the workplace is another level of risk, because it comes here, the data compliance. There are laws and regulations that needs to follow. Where are the servers or where these old data stored are based? And who might have access, even not now, who in the future might have access to such conversations or data, or beyond the data, the analytics, the sentiments, who might have access to which employees at burnout, which employees at risk of turnover, and all this data. It's a big question, and it's not an easy one to answer. And that's why we have been seeing here in UAE a lot of efforts to regulate this. This needs to be regulated, and UAE always has an edge in starting, and everyone else follows. So the UAE have been really doing a lot of effort to trying to regulate an ethical use of AI, because we don't want this to go beyond of our control. Remember the dystopian movies that we used to move, that robots are controlling the world and we work for them. It won't be in this like way, like not that you will go to an office and find robots moving around you. But it's happening in the background, because if the decision is taken based on AI inputs and AI data analytics, they are the actual masters. I don't want to scare you.
You did. You actually did. So practical AI, and I'm talking about ChatGPT that everyone knows, started to came to our life around 2 years ago. What about all those things that you've just mentioned? Is it already like really happening in big organizations?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, it is happening. Emirates Airlines, now interviews are all done by AI first, and that's understandable, especially with a company that had thousands of applicants for each role. So they cannot screen this manually. They cannot interview all this manually. They need a pre-screening or a pre-filtering, and there are many tools. There are many tools that used for video interviews and CV screening, even job posting. And the funny thing that the candidates are using their
AI as well.
AI, yes, to write their CVs, to tailor it to the job description, and an AI screening and AI CV. So it's who will win. We don't know. It's AI definitely, but which side of AI will win this kind of battle?
Great. So Look, AI definitely help us on day-to-day task, writing emails, all the tasks that we just mentioned, reduce workload. But does it actually translate into happiness? I also asked myself yesterday, yes, I do my work much faster, but
Yes.
actually, does it really translate into happiness? And I don't think I could answer yes. It's just easier, but is it actually happiness?
Mm, mm.
What's your view on that?
It needs to be connected also with the human skills. So the role of AI is to, as you said, exactly to do things faster, more efficient. I don't need to spend hours on things that an AI can do for me in minutes. But what I will do with these hours is the second part of the questions. I need to build authentic, real connections with people around me. And this has arisen a lot, especially after the COVID times when everyone was remote, everyone was isolated, and then the burnout started and people started to feel disconnected. And here came the realization that people need to be more connected with each other,
Mm-hmm.
even in a remote setup. Like you need to build real and authentic and know the person behind the role. So while AI is doing your admin and repetitive tasks, your time should go to building more authentic relationships with people. And here this how can AI connect to happiness? It will free up your time so you can do more meaningful work, you can do more strategic work, more creative work, and also connect with your colleagues, bosses, stakeholders, clients, everyone on a more deeper level, not such the surface.
But you know what might happen? Good employees get rewarded with more work. So if you do work faster, you end up having more work. So
That's
and it's
the
just piling up, and
yeah.
there is no light in the end of the tunnel.
That's the classic. That's the
That's
classic
the
thing.
classic.
You do work fast and good. Okay, take more, right?
That's exactly happens. My background is from community management industry, and if you're a good employee, you get more projects.
Yes.
As simple as that. Yeah. So, what are the risks associated with implementation of AI in workplace? So, I would assume it's going to be some insecurity about keeping the job, and then privacy. What else?
Insecurity is definitely there, and people will start thinking, do they need me? And the answer might not be yes all the time, because and even not, let's say not 100%. But if you have a team of 20, do you will still need 20? Maybe you will need 4 plus an AI tool. Maybe you will need 3 plus 2 tools. It depends. So definitely job insecurity is there. But this pivotal moment of AI has always been there in history. From the invention of electricity to the industrial revolution to the internet, the question has been asked all the time. Will people still have jobs after we have X? And this X can be internet, electricity. So why do you need people if you have AI? We will definitely need people. But will we need people doing the same thing? Probably no. You will need people doing shifting kind of their specializations to more strategic work, more work that needs human skills, cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence, empathy, building relationship, influencing, negotiation, these things that cannot be replaced by AI. But do we need a bunch of humans doing an admin or operations or repetitive tasks? Most probably no. Most probably no. So the job insecurity side, it creates that, and it needs also agility from the workforce. The workforce shouldn't stand still and be in a defensive mode and say, what will happen? You should reshift your skill, reskill, upskill, check what kind of skills will still be needed in that era and try to acquire those skills so you don't be redundant. You still be needed in this new era of workforce. Definitely the second point of privacy is there, and it has been there. Maybe now the people are talking about more and more. But as we were talking, we never know what happens with the data. I look at shoes. I don't even talk to anyone, and then I find it in ads. So do these algorithms know more about us than we do know about ourselves? So privacy is there.
I think so.
The privacy concern is definitely there, and the burnout is also another risk. Because with this hyper technology workplaces, which will be, we cannot avoid it. It's part of the workplace today. Also, stress and burnout is very high. We are an information overload. We live in an information overload. We see thousands of ads, even if we don't realize it around our days. A lot of news, social media, WhatsApp, everywhere is around us. News. So the real skill will be the ability to focus and not to be distracted. What do you need to do? and what fits into what you need to do and what is a distraction that should be eliminated. This is another skill that needs in the AI. Because if we keep following everything that's happening, it's our brains are not designed for that. Like talking about the millions of years, our brain is millions of years old, and the internet is maybe 40 years old, 35 years old, something like that. So it's like nothing in the brain is not used to such amount of information. It's simply not used. We need to also respect the evolutionary history of our brain and don't overload it.
And take breaks. I've recently had relatively short detox from social media when I went on vacation, and I didn't even know that I'm tired of it because my work involves a lot of social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything that's around that, and I enjoy it. But then when I went on vacation, it kind of like just shut down, and I was like, at least for 5 days, I just don't want to look at anything without even understanding what happened to me. And then it kind of come back. So it's important to also give yourself a break.
You reminded me of one time I was in a flight, and there was no internet in the flight, and I know, like, I tried to connect, I couldn't, to finish some work, but I couldn't. And then I found someone next to me scrolling on social media, so I couldn't stop but asking him, do you have an internet connection? And he said, no, it's just the old posts, but I cannot stop scrolling. And this was really alarming. So if you saw this post and you know that you saw these posts, but you just cannot stop scrolling, you cannot take, it was a short flight, actually 2 hours. You cannot take a 2 hours break from social media and do anything else, or simply do nothing. Just close your eyes, do nothing. No, they needed to be in social media, and that's an addiction. And it's very obvious in the newer generations, because in my generation, for example, we were not born with social media there. I was not born with internet even there. So I know how to live without internet for some time. The newer generations, some of them didn't see a word without internet. They need a lot of instant replies on everything. They cannot wait. They need things now, because it is now. Now we have Netflix. If you want a movie, go see it. In my generation, it wasn't the case. You need to wait. It will come on the TV, or it will be in the cinemas, or you will go to the video and rent a videotape. All these things now are not there. If you want something, you get it now. So they are not used to waiting. They are addicted to scrolling. This a lot of societal issues with the information overload we are talking about.
A little bit off topic, just want to share some example with you. When I went on vacation some months ago, I flew Hawaiian Airlines. It was around United States. And I was so impressed with the internet that they have. They use Starlink.
Yes.
A little bit of advertising of Elon Musk.
Very fast.
And it's brilliant. It's like your home internet. For example, I normally fly Emirates, and it's kind of sometimes on and off, and you need to connect every time. There you connect once, and anytime you fly internationally, as soon as you enter the plane, it connects immediately, and you can stream the whole flight. I was so impressed, and I was like, UE, what's happening? Why we're a little bit behind on that?
Emirates introduced this in the new A350. It's now they now have the high-speed internet in their new 350, and Qatar Airways have it also in some of their flights. But it's a complete game changer, because I also use it, and I did a video call online with my family, and it was for me a moment of truth. Like, I am flying to Canada with over 30,000 feet, and I'm talking on a video call for 30 minutes without a single interruption. So I agree with you. It was a shift, and it gives us an indication of what's coming next.
Yeah.
The connectivity will be anywhere. You cannot get disconnected. When we talked about a flight without internet, you shared the story of that will not be the case in the future. Probably all the flights will still be with a high-speed internet, so you won't have this opportunity of even disconnecting for a few hours.
Well, you can put it in airplane mode.
It's your choice. If we can do it, if you're strong enough to do it, you can always do it.
Okay, so let's talk about practical tips when it comes to implementation of HR or implementation of AI in HR industry. I've recently attended quite a few workshops where people talk about AI, that we need to do it, but I feel like no one has any idea what to do. And it was a lot of leaders from different companies, and everyone is like, but where do we start?
Yeah.
So let's take one company, medium size. where do they need to start? Because it's just so many aspects of the AI that can be implemented. What's the starting point?
Well, the starting point is definitely defining the needs. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you need AI for? Because now it's a hype, as you started the podcast by saying everyone is talking about AI. So I don't meet a single company that don't identify themselves as an AI powered company. But in some cases, there's no AI behind it. You know, they insert a chatbot that basically takes you to ChatGPT, but inside the site, that's not an AI company.
Mm-hmm.
That's everyone has a ChatGPTs, and everyone can create their own GPTs, and they can create their own AI agents. So the company should start by defining what are wasting a lot of time for us, what's taking effort from us, what is our pain point that a powerful AI tool can come in and reduce this time. When we talked about CV screening that Emirates use, for example, if I have a team of 50 recruiters spending days screening CVs, can AI just do the pre-screening? They will not do the selection. They will
Mm-hmm.
not do the hiring. They will not say this person is job offered or something like this. But they will say, okay, there is 300 out of this 500 you don't need to look at. They are not based here. They don't have the basic qualifications. They so they can do the pre-filtration. And here it's a pain point that's sorted out. Same if you are dealing with a lot of data. So maybe you have the ideas, you have the flow of an onboarding, for example, and it's kind of an FAQs that do and do not. And here you find the policies. Here is your schedule for onboarding. This all can be automated. This all can go to an AI tool where they go and check and download. And it doesn't because before, and I'm talking before as if it was 50 years, but it was like 3-4 years. There should be an onboarding specialist for every newcomer to the company that they will take them by hand and show them around. This now can also be automated. So you can do things faster and quicker. Does it mean that we remove the human touch? Absolutely not. It needs to be there, but one resource can serve more number of people with the AI. So the companies starting to adopt it should start with their pain points. Where is our pain points? Which one is taking a lot of our effort and it's a repetitive task that we can simply automate it and focus our time somewhere else?
So, how can leaders give a reassurance to their employees that employees are still safe if they are actually? And do they need to provide special training, how to deal with those things, or just basically this is AI and go for it?
Well, there's two sides of it. First, the leaders and the employees themselves both need to be AI literate. So they need to know how to use AI and where to use AI and what are the risks associated with using AI. Because I know in some organizations banned the ChatGPTs.
Yeah.
Other organizations created their own organizational version of a ChatGPT. So those are two different kind of directions in the market when dealing with AI. So first they need to know where and when to use AI and when not. And the other thing is that the emphasize, it might sound counterintuitive or something, but no, it's more important now that we go back to our human skills more and more while getting more knowledge of AI. We also need to be more empathetic, more emotionally intelligent, more culturally intelligent. Leaders should invest in themselves and their teams, and organizations should invest in their people. As they invest in the AI tools, they should invest in their people as well to develop this human skills part of it, because it will be the most part needed in AI. We will no longer have someone who has a very good knowledge of the UAE labor law, for example, because it's there. There is a GPT for the UAE labor law. So I won't hire someone because he can memorize or get me out of the law. I can just ask the GPT, but I will hire someone who is emotionally intelligent, who is a well communicator, who can build relationships quickly, who can be trusted by leadership. Those are the skills that will emerge. While everyone might think that prompting and AI skills, yes, they will still be important, but people who lack the human skills will be out of market. So it's very important for the people and the organizations to develop more this human part of their skills.
The only thing I can add is AI is great, but check the information. I had one mistake that cost me a lot of money. ChatGPT, I'm gonna blame it for that. I was traveling as well, and I was traveling in different countries, and I checked with Google, do I need visa for that specific country? And they said, no, it's visa-free country. And I knew that it's a visa-free country. And then I cross-checked that information with ChatGPT, and it gave me exactly the same information, no need for visa. And it was South Korea. And I was flying from Hawaii. I come to the airport in Hawaii and I said, "Where's your visa?" I said, "I don't need the visa." I said, "Yes, you don't need the visa, but you need ETA."
Okay.
And neither the Google nor
Mm.
ChatGPT in the initial search gave me that information. I missed the flight. I had to stay.
Change it, rescheduled it.
I had to stay in Hawaii. I couldn't reschedule my tickets
Oh.
because it was, I think the fare was not changeable. So overall, it costed me 7,000 dirham, that mistake from ChatGPT and Google.
Wow, lesson learned, I think.
A lesson learned. So now I actually have that at the back of my mind. So whenever it's critical information, I would always cross check. I mean, it's not the worst thing to be stuck in Hawaii for one more day, but
But there's a financial implications.
yeah, so my husband wasn't happy.
Yes, and that's absolutely important that you double check because and we all know that these hallucinations sometimes come when you use large language models like GPT or the other ones. They sometimes hallucinate because how they works in the background, they try to predict the next coming word and they predict it very accurately. They do scan the internet and search. And when you said you check it on Google and it was on ChatGPT, because ChatGPT also checked Google and it get you the same information. So definitely don't take it for granted.
Yeah. So at least it wasn't the worst that could happen, and I learned it at the early stage, but at least now I know. Have you seen the recent news about UAE implementing this initiative where the government is actually going to pay for
The
ChatGPT Plus for all residents?
Yeah.
I'm surprised and I'm shocked and I'm really excited, but what's your view on that?
Well, it's a great news, and I'm not very surprised because, as we said, UAE has always had the edge in anything, especially anything related to technology and automation. UAE always takes the lead, so I'm not surprised that UAE is taking this. It's definitely a very good step and very important step for all the residents here in UAE, where they will have access to a faster model of a large language model of a ChatGPT and free of cost. So that's definitely an opportunity for anyone and gives UAE another edge.
Looking forward to see actually how it's going to be implemented in terms of practicality.
Day-to-day, yes, how it will work.
What's your prediction for the next 2-3 years? What's going to happen with AI and HR? Where are we going next? Beyond what you already mentioned.
Well, 2-3 years in general terms are mid-term kind of. With AI, this could be long-term because AI is developing super fast. So I cannot tell you what will happen in the next 2-3 years. No one can tell. That sounds like, okay, maybe it will not be us telling, it will be AI telling what's coming next and we will just follow. But definitely with this fast development, it's a moment of history. I mean, the release of ChatGPT in November 2022, if I'm not mistaken, was as transformational as the internet, as transformational as the electricity, as transformational as the steam engine. It is a point of time where things will never be like the same before, and we have to admit it. So I expect that things will never be like this before. So some people and some skeptical voices are saying that AI is a hype and a trend and it will go, and definitely not. Definitely not. It's here to stay. It's here to dominate. The risks can come from very few number of organizations controlling all this data, because AI started first as a noble initiative to democratize access to information, but now it's shifting. We see the very big names are the ones releasing the new models and the one controlling the use and giving access and retaining access. So that's a risk also, because it shifts the power to, instead of democratizing the power, it's taking the power back to giants who have billions of dollars, and we don't know what can be the implications of that, because these companies are not non-for-profit. They are not NGOs. They want to make more profits. So they will definitely give priority to profit over the benefit for societies or communities. And you started also the podcast by talking about companies giving more to their communities. Yes, like big companies, small companies, mid-sized companies will definitely work to serve their communities, but the huge companies, they want to make more profit, and this is the risk of having the AI all centered in just few hands, I would say.
So we should basically sit, watch, and educate ourselves. That's the way of going forward.
Yes, it would always be. So even before AI, after AI, you without agility, without the mindset of continuous learning, people will get stuck, and markets are getting more competitive, and everywhere is getting more competitive, and now you don't compete only with people, you compete with technologies. So if you are not agile enough to upskill yourself every day, you need to learn something new. And this continuous learning is a mindset. It's not a program. You don't sign for a training program, you go for 2 days and then you're off. You need to adopt this mindset. I need to learn something. I need to learn something new, and I need to know where I want to go, which direction I want to head, and what skills I need to head in this direction, and keep developing. And directions will change, skills will change, technology around us will change, the way we do work will change, the way we communicate will change, and we have to be agile enough to always be upskilling.
Well, I definitely learned a few interesting facts today. Some of them are alarming, to be honest. Yeah. So we're getting close to the end of our podcast. One last question to you. If you had a magic wand, what would be the one practice that you would change in the HR industry?
Good one and a tough one, but it is changing already. But I think needs to be more to see the HR not an operational department, especially with the AI. We've been talking about the AI for the past minutes, and especially with the AI, HR needs to shift their focus from being the policeman of the company, the one implementing policies or setting policies, because AI will probably do all this. They will need just few prompts and they will develop a handbook in 15 seconds. So no HR professional can compete with that efficiency and speed. So we need to shift our focus from being operationally focused to be strategically focused. We are the change catalyst. HR is the ones that bring the organizational culture to life, that they shape the organizational culture with leadership, that really serve as business partner. The word is really overused, but in practical, it's not that much. We see a lot of HR people still stuck into their operations mode of that's the policy. Let's create a policy. This is shifting, to be honest. I need also to be fair, and especially serving as a judge, that I've seen a lot of very, very good strategic HR departments here in the market, but still needs more to get out of this mindset. Technology will take this part. AI will take this part. You need to be more with the business, with the people, shaping the culture and building authentic human relationships.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great talk.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoyed every bit of it, and see you at the gala dinner, I guess.
See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.